Okay, so today's vlog. I had a meeting with CPS. It did not go the way I was hoping. They have decided that they are going to keep the kids until October. Um, they said that they got the CPS reports from my home state, and there was some concerns because I do suffer from depression, and when I was first diagnosed with a thyroid condition, I was also diagnosed as borderline schizophrenic. There's also some concerns that because I was sexually abused as a child myself, and because I went through physical and emotional and mental abuse growing up, I may not have the clearest head when it comes to recognizing safe and unsafe situations. They said there was additional concerns that they were not at liberty to disclose, and I'm really concerned about those because I want to know, and I'm kind of showing you guys my dirty laundry, but I want to know what those additional concerns are. I want to know what I could be able to do to combat them so that I could be able to get my kids back. Right now, they're wanting me to undergo mental health evaluation. They want me to have an assessment done for psychological damage or trauma, as well as psychosexual evaluation conducted because of prior sexual abuse that I've suffered. And I've disclosed those in my vlog of my history to you guys. I was very open and honest with the social workers about my previous past, history. So they're wanting me to undergo all of that. And I had to sign a medical release so that they could be able to get information from whichever psychiatrist I go to in order to monitor that I am attending treatment and I am abiding by the psychologist's recommendations. In the meantime, they're going to continue to provide care for my children. They stated that when the kids were in the group home together, the person who was in charge of that placement observed some inappropriate behavior between Matthew and Sophia. Nobody made me aware of this. Nobody told me that they had separated the kids. I did not find out until today that Matthew had been placed in a different location because of that. I understand that they had temporary custody of my kids, but, I'm still, at the end of the day, those kids' mom. And I deserve to know what's going on with them and what's happening to them and whether or not they're safe and whether or not they're together. I mean, they're still my kids. And even though, CPS has temporary custody, that doesn't exclude them from being responsible for providing me with that information. It'd be no different than if my kids were at camp or at school or some other place that's in charge of taking care of them. At least that's my mentality on it. They want me to get rid of all the individuals who knew about the abuse and did nothing to report it. So that means Dave and his new girlfriend, Lorna, and Dave's best friend. All have to be removed from the lease and removed from the home. So Dave's friend has stated that he is going to fight the eviction. He's stating that because no proof of any wrongdoing was presented to him, he is not responsible for reporting it. And I am concerned that if he goes to court with that mentality, the judge may say, well, proof is not required in this type of situation. If there is suspicion of abuse, it is your duty to report it. If one person comes to you and say, hey, I'm being abused and I feel trapped and I can't get out of this, then it becomes your responsibility to help them with getting out of the situation. Especially considering there were threats to my safety being done and threats of having the kids removed from the home and taken away from me being conducted. So I'm concerned that his friend, if he goes to court and tries to use that excuse of not having proof, the judge is going to recommend that he be charged with criminal charges. So that's what I'm concerned about. And I know I shouldn't be concerned because, this asshole made his bed. He's got a lie in it. But I can't help but feel sorry for the guy because at the end of the day, he was duped. He was presented with this one personality, and that personality wound up being a charming individual who's been wronged by other people. And because of that personality, he was led to believe that this person could never hurt a fly. And so because he was duped, he kind of buried his head in the sand, refused to open his eyes or listen or anything. And because of all that, I'm concerned that he's going to have to pay the ultimate price for being complacent, basically. I do know that if I don't comply with CPS because of my own negligence, I could also be facing criminal charges. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure that that doesn't happen. I'm complying with everything that they're wanting me to comply with. The officer hasn't reached out to me. The one who's conducting the criminal side of the investigation. But I'm hoping that by me complying with CPS and cooperating with the police, that will mitigate me at least a little bit, because I can't afford to face jail time. I can't afford to lose my kids. My kids really are the only things that keep me going day after day. And seeing them running around, laughing, cutting up, arguing, fighting, being themselves, that keeps me going. Keeps me sane. It keeps me from being depressed. So I reached out to some psychiatrists that CPS recommended, and the ones that they recommended do not take my insurance. So then I reached out to my insurance provider, and I reached out to some psychiatrists that were listed on my preferred providers list because I have in-network only insurance. I have to make sure that I use a psychiatrist who's going to be in-network. So I've placed out a couple of phone calls. I'm waiting to hear back. I'm hoping I hear back tomorrow. So I can go ahead and get the evaluations and the assessments that CPS wants done completed. I am myself confused because I was at the age of 17 diagnosed with borderline schizophrenia. Borderline paranoid schizophrenia. I was told that it was linked to my thyroid condition, and I was told that I had Graves' disease, which is a hyperthyroid condition. Here recently, I've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is a hypothyroid condition. Which sucks. Because it's like nobody believes that you can go from one to the other. Even though the doctors back out east say that it is possible and they've seen it happen. And I have family members who have had it happen. I don't know. So it would be nice to be able to get some official diagnoses, find out if the doctors back out east were correct and that my thyroid did mess up my brain wiring in some way. So I can be able to make sure that I get the treatment that I need. I've been operating for the past almost 20 years under the assumption that the mental disorders were linked to my thyroid condition and that I just needed to maintain the thyroid condition and the mental disorders would not be a thing. But if what the doctors back out east told me is false, then that means that I need to have other treatment done. It means that I've been operating under incorrect information. It's possible that I've been misdiagnosed with what I've been told that I have. So I need to get something officially on the books, so to speak. The therapist that I've been seeing that was recommended by my employer is not really a licensed therapist, supposedly. So I have to seek out a licensed therapist, which means I have to have the money for the copays in that kind of regards. Because my children are in state custody, they are on Medicaid, which luckily means that their care is going to be provided by the state, and there's nothing really going on as far as co-pays and insurance and things like that because they're provided by the state. So there's that. Good thing, I guess. They said they're going to assign me an attorney, and I really hope they give me a good attorney because I do not want to get screwed over. I am willing to jump through any hoops and go through any procedure that they want me to go through in order to be able to get my kids back. And they told me that if I take the parenting courses and I get the mental health assessments and the psychology assessments, evaluations, and the psychosexual evaluations and go through all of that, then that will help mitigate um, almost all of the negatives that they had listed. The only thing that I would need to then focus on at that point would be healthy relationships with other individuals, which, I mean, like I shared with you guys yesterday, I had my 3 chances, and 3 chances is all I gave myself. Lorna called me today from a private number. I didn't talk to her. She's like, Amanda, I know you don't want to talk to me, and you don't have to say a word, but I want to let you know that Dave and I are over, and I am moving to Arkansas. I am going to live in Arkansas. I am never coming back. I am going to tell him that I miscarried the baby. The only reason why he and I were together was because of the baby, and he genuinely loves you and the kids, and he would never hurt you or the kids. And it crushed him that this had happened this way, and he is lost without you guys. And the only thing I could think of the entire time was, if he's lost and he's crushed, then he should have protected us. He shouldn't have touched my daughter. He shouldn't have threatened me or hurt me. He shouldn't have put us through the hell that we went through. He should have cherished us and respected us and did everything that he was supposed to do to make sure that we never doubted for one instant that we were safe. Instead, he used us, and he used my daughter for his own sexual gratification. And he used me for financial gain. He bled me dry. He threatened me. He did everything he could to crush me. And if he's in darkness, then that's where he deserves to be. I would not have allowed anything to happen to my children if it wasn't for the fact that I feared for my safety. I feared that he would follow through with his threat to kill me and bury me in the desert. And my thought process was, if he does this, then who's going to protect my kids? And now my kids have been taken away, and there's no one to protect them. And no, I don't trust the state to protect my kids. Even though the state I live in has the highest reconciliation, whatever, rate where families are rejoined after something like this happens, I don't trust the state to protect my kids. But I'm not going to date. I'm not going to seek out any type of partnership. No friends with benefits. If someone comes along and they want to date me, then they have a sheer cliff wall to try to mount to be able to get to me. I'm Rapunzel in the tower, and I have no long hair to throw down. And I don't plan on letting anyone in. My kids are my life. My kids will remain my life. And CPS has given me guidelines for if I go and get a roommate, what needs to be done as far as how the advertisement for the roommate needs to be worded. So I've done that. I've put out that advertisement. I've shared the advertisement with my brother, and my brother has agreed to share it with his friends. on Facebook to see if anybody would be willing to, one, move out here to be with me and the kids, and to undergo the requirements for CPS to accept them. One of the things that I have to have is a responsible adult to help me with making sure that the kids stay safe. And by responsible adult, they mean someone who can pass the CPS background check, as well as a criminal background check. I don't know of anyone, aside from my brother in my family, that would qualify. So he's going to reach out and see if anybody would qualify, because he can't afford to come out here. He's got a good job, and he can't just drop everything and try to find employment for what would amount to the rest of his life. So there's that. But everything, it seems like everything positive that happens, there's 10 more negatives. But I'm taking the positives as they come. And I'm grateful for each one. And I'm not going to let the negatives bring me down. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that everything is taken care of and everything is done and there's no stone left unturned. So, anyways, sorry about my dirty laundry. I normally do my clothes on Saturdays, but this past weekend was impossible. And I normally only do my clothes every 2 weeks because I only have enough clothes to last me for 2 weeks. And if I do them every week, then that means I tend to recycle the ones that I've worn that previous week, and not all of my clothes get worn. So I'm wanting to get this taken care of, and I'm hoping I can get this taken care of before my daughter's birthday. I've never missed a single one of their birthdays, and I'm hoping to get this taken care of before she turns 10, because I don't want to miss her birthday. I've always been there for that, and I don't want to miss it. So I'm going to hop off here and take a shower and get ready for bed. Even though the sun's out, it's getting close to my bedtime, so I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, bye.